Tonight, the chorus grows louder as backlash mounts over Carl Paladino and his controversial comments. Good evening, I'm Ashley Rowe. Jeff is off tonight. A crowd in Niagara Square making their position loud and clear. They want Carl Paladino booted from the Buffalo School Board. This was a scene earlier today, hundreds gathering for an anti-Paladino rally. This all surrounds those recent comments he made to Art Voice, expressing his hopes President Obama would contract mad cow disease and die, while also saying the First Lady should go to Africa and live with a gorilla.
And I'm a black man who took huge offense to what that white man, Carl Paladino, said about our president and about our First Lady. And I want everyone to know that I don't want Carl Paladino to have the luxury of resigning. I want him to be removed because of the things that he said.
And that wish may soon become reality, with the school board passing a resolution just a short time ago calling on Paladino to resign. The final vote 6-2, with board members Larry Quinn and Patty Pierce both condemning his remarks, but saying their friend should apologize but not be removed from the board. 7 Eyewitness News reporter Josh Bazan was there when the vote came down. Josh, emotions clearly running high.
That's exactly right, Ashley. This special board meeting didn't allow for public comment, but the people in the audience made sure their voices were heard, breaking into a standing ovation when the vote came down in favor of forcing Carl Paladino off the school board. Now, board member Hope J submitted the resolution at this afternoon's special meeting. It gives Paladino 24 hours to resign from his position on the board. If he doesn't step down, the board will then seek outside legal counsel to file a petition with the state education commissioner to have Paladino removed. Only Patty Pierce and Larry Quinn voted against the resolution, both asking other members to give him a chance to publicly apologize. Board President Barbara Seals Nevergold does not expect Paladino to step down. Neither side is sure what will happen if the state education department gets involved.
I really don't know. I think the argument on his behalf might be that he wasn't doing anything as a board member that people are upset about. So, but I don't know the answer.
We're going to go through the process, and it'll be up to the Commission of Education whether or not we have the preponderance of proof to make that case, and that she decides that she will remove him.
The resolution calls Paladino's comments racist and morally repugnant, and board members say he violated his oath of office and the school district's code of ethics. Now, right now, the board is consulting with its legal counsel to try to prepare to acquire outside counsel should Paladino refuse to step down in the next 24 hours. For now, live in the newsroom, Josh Bazan, 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, thank you, Josh. And Keith, you just got a response from Carl Paladino about the board's decision. What's he saying tonight?
All right, I reached out to Mr. Paladino this afternoon. I got a response for him just a few minutes ago after this vote was taken at City Hall in the special board meeting today. And here's what he says. Certainly not an illustration of courage or leadership on the part of the council members, legislators, the mayor, the county executive, who have all joined in the chorus now of racist and incompetent Board of Education members seeking my removal, so as to push back on me and not disclose their culpability in rigging the recent teacher contract or their complicity in trying to unfairly settle the board's $450 million lawsuit against Lou Simonelli for fleecing the citizens and the children of Buffalo. It is going to be a very combative year. So that's the response from Carl Paladino to what happened late this afternoon at City Hall. Certainly he's showing no signs of backing down to any of this pressure. I guess we'll see what happens in the weeks and maybe months to come.
He remains defiant.